Yeah, I mean, so here would be like the frame of the argument, right? So above ground or below ground power lines. The frame of the argument is so recently for me, we got like 2.5, 3 feet of snow here. Power was out for a good week, just about 6 days, Tuesday to Monday. Trees are down all over the place. Like a week and a half later, it was 60 and then rained. And so all the snow's gone, right? Like I had the insurance adjuster come out today because a tree fell in our driveway and then on the roof and busted the gutter. And we're walking it, right? It's 60 degrees out. It's like, I'm like, did you see any of these pictures? And he's like, no, I hadn't seen any. And it's like, well, here's 2.5 feet of snow and a tree. And luckily, my wife's work vehicle was not parked where the tree fell because that would have been a whole other issue for the company owned vehicle to be just demolished by a tree falling 40 feet because the top of a tree just exploded and fell in our driveway. And then even like in our driveway, a tree fell onto a power line, busted the line. It snapped the line out of the weatherhead for our neighbors. And so PG&E had to come and redo that. And because we're next to basically a business or a state highway, Caltrans deal, then they had to have traffic control all set up to do that because it's in a state highway right away as they were stringing lines back across the street to do all of this. And so in these crazy events, right, you have everyone's like, the power's out. Why is my power out? Why can't this go faster? And you, like, my wife told me about, like, people on social media, because again, I deleted it and I wouldn't have seen it anyway, but going crazy about, like, why is my power not out? We just got 2.5 feet of snow. I don't understand this. And it's like, dude, have you looked outside at all? And we're supposed to get another 1.5 feet tomorrow, and it's wet and heavy. And did a tree just not explode in your front yard and driveway? Like, and you hear them all over the place. If people think it's crazy, right? You see these, or you're just standing there, and then all of a sudden you hear ka-thunk, and it's like a gunshot that goes off as these trees just explode because they've been soaked with water, and then they freeze, and then they literally just burst the tree open. So then it's just shards going everywhere, and it's boom. You think you're getting like shot at or something as these trees are exploding and falling all over the place. So I mean, it literally took PG&E a week, and they're around the clock doing everything. Crews were working here. They were well prepped for the storm. Like, they were on it. And so when you talk about above or below ground lines, like, yes, in some high hazard areas, like PG&E has undergrounded a ton of them, which is a big investment. So historically, and I don't know what the number is today, but like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the number was $1 million a mile to put up utility lines. That number's probably 3 to 5 million now, I would say, 15 years later. So, okay, 5 million a mile to put up a utility line. Let's just say that that's the number. So if that's the case, then like everyone's bitching about data centers and increasing their rates and everything. It's like, well, you want to underground all these lines, your rates are going to go up. Yes, you'll have less power outages, but rates are going to go up. But here's the kicker is if somebody, like, if you've ever had a fiber optic line that somebody cut through in your area and you didn't have internet for 3 days, because that's how long it took them to not only excavate that area, pull all of that dirt out, get to the pipe where the fiber optic line was, then put a junction box there, pull new cable and or splice that cable. It's going to take them a day or two to get internet back, right? That if the trunk line for fiber gets cut because some dude didn't call 811 and figure out where to dig, right? Didn't do utility markings or services or any of that stuff, then you're going to have even bigger problems. Now you take that with a power line that usually they're encased in concrete, but let's say it wasn't, and somebody knifes through it or puts an excavator on it. Well, now you just killed somebody. More than likely. Not saying that's always the case, but that's probably what ends up happening. again, with an excavator, shovel, or whatever, or they're using an air blade or whatever they might be doing to get dirt out. Now, if it's concrete encased, whatever, but then that's even more cost to underground it. And then you have all these trenching, plus you have now all these right-of-way issues that you have to work through. And ultimately, it's who's going to pay for it, right? Is your electricity rate going to go up for it? Probably. Now, PG&E has done a lot of this proactively, basically to lower their insurance rates because they've started a couple fires and a few $1 billion worth of damages that should have bankrupted the company and sent some people to jail, but that is a conversation for a different day. So good on them for doing that, right? Yeah, I think you finally have somebody that is the CEO of PG&E that's like from here, from California, because nobody previously was from California. So, okay, cool. But that's really the argument. One or the other isn't better or worse. I mean, you look at like New York City, everything's undergrounded, right? Most things in all cities are underground. They're below the streets. They're in the sewer tunnels or train tunnels or just utility tunnels that are like in New York or DC or Boston or any of these. Chicago, I mean, everything's underground for those guys. That was very expensive to do though. But, you don't have the overhead problems. Now you look at San Francisco, like cable cars and doing anything, like it's a pain to move around because now you have big wires in the middle of the street that you better know where you're driving and not have anything tall, like it's a whole other world down there and how the city is set up. I mean, there's pros and cons to anything. The pro for like the lines that we have today and it being overhead is that, look, it was fairly inexpensive to put up. If it breaks, it is fairly easy to replace. Yes, it'll take some time, but it's not, again, crazy to do. Then if they ever needed to upgrade the lines, and what you see for us in our area too, is they're putting in steel poles every so often. And then that's just part of their upgrade and maintenance plan to go and put in more steel poles so that you don't have wood, again, in a fire-prone area, you don't have wood that is likely to burn. And then it strengthens the lines. There's a lot of other benefits to it where if somebody hits it, the pole's not likely to fall over versus wood pole that's going to snap and they got to get new ones and put those in. So pros and cons on both sides of it. And really the ultimate thing comes down to like, if you're going to underground a line that's already put up, it's all cost, right? And who pays for it? And nobody wants to.